This is Reviewer03, bringing you a review of Chaser, also known as my first video game review. Why this game in particular? Because it is the only one my computer can record in a decent quality, without exploding and creating a black hole which would destroy the entire planet. Now, before I start the review, I guess I should introduce you to my gamer history. Obviously I'm a PC guy, since I hate all the consoles like the Xbox and all their button controllers. If you want to play shooters and strategy games, you need a keyboard and a mouse. Oh, and I'm pretty much a gamer of the first hour, having played classics like the original XCOM, Panzer General, the original Civilization, the first Half-Life and StarCraft, Duke Nukem, Doom, and so on. I also played the newer classics like Half-Life 2, Far Cry, Portal, most Star Wars and Star Trek games, and so on. I'm so old school and classy that I still play shooters with the arrows like originally intended, and not with WASD like some self-proclaimed experts against whom I have a kill ratio of 5-to-1 in Counter-Strike. Okay, so Chaser is set in the year 2044 in a dystopian future, and the story revolves around a guy named John Chaser who just seconds after waking up is nearly killed by a bunch of mysterious attackers. As the game progresses, it is revealed that Chaser had lost his memory and that the only way to get it back is to travel to Mars from where he originally came. But this turns out to be more difficult than it sounds, since many people want to see Chaser dead rather than on Mars. What follows is a chase around the globe, taking the player from a space station to a mafia-controlled city to a neo-Soviet Russia and to various locations on Mars, where Chaser finally finds out that his memory loss was the least of his problems. Does this story sound familiar? Well, no wonder, because it's a fucking ripoff of Total Recall. No, not the crappy remake, this one. So, Chaser was a really good shooter. It has many different and unique locations and missions, a shitload of weapons you can choose from, and they behave wonderfully realistic. You know, most experts nowadays shoot like this. Yeah, just shooting like idiots until the enemy is dead. But the bad thing is, in this game the weapons have a realistic recoil, which means that if you don't fire like a real professional, with short and concentrated bursts, you will hit jack shit. Another plus of this game are the graphics. They are still pretty good despite the fact that they are 10 years old, and this Matrix-like adrenaline mode, which slows down time and makes you feel like Neo. Things that aren't so good are the cutscenes. There are too much of them and most of them are far too long. I think the longest is around 8 minutes, and this gets a little boring over time. Oh, and there are 2 or 3 annoying levels where you either see jack shit or where you simply don't know where to go. The game is also surprisingly hard. Most players will be hard pressed to manage it at normal difficulty, and without the adrenaline mode and quick save, the game would be almost impossible to play it hard. The last point I want to talk about is the soundtrack, which is one of the better game soundtracks out there. Oh, and I guess I should mention that this is a really long shooter. Most shooters take 20 hours to complete when played the first time, but this one took nearly 30 hours. All in all, I would say that Chaser is a surprisingly good shooter that I would really recommend. It may not be anywhere near the level of Half-Life 2 or Halo, but it's a really good shooter that got far too few attention back when it came out. So I'm giving it a good 4 out of 5 points.